this weekend.
It is. This is Saturday.
Oh goodness. I blame the college football playoff, which we'll get to later as well. But hello there, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning. It is your resident happy-go-lucky fat motherfucker, the DOUG here, and we are here for Week 9 predictions. Of course, I am not alone.
Week 9 already?
It is Week 9 already. We have everyone's favorite 49er fan, Mr. Dave.
What up?
We also have the man who cursed Aaron Rodgers, and we'll explain why that is later, but of course we have a giant vibrator with us. Of course he's going to go with the hashtag.
I've given up on football because, you know, the team I did cheer for fucking sucks.
That would be the Bears, who I think they're going to be firing their head coach. I think he's on the hot seat, but we'll get to that later on in the video as well, since they kind of have a winnable game they should win, but the Bears offense will fucking choke it, or defense, whichever one you prefer. And of course, Mr. Jones will be with us later. We do have another one with us, but he wants to just be known as the greatest wrestler in the history of the world, Vacant. So we have Vacant with us here tonight as well.
Vacant, the GOAT. The GOAT.
And if you get that reference, congratulations. But yeah, we're on Week 9. Of course, I do want to say I hope everyone had a safe, good Halloween. Some people got treats over the weekend in college and NFL. Some people got tricks, and some tricks are still going.
Fuck the college football team.
Oh, we're going to get to the college rankings in a minute, because we're going to discuss that after we go over this past week. So let's go over this past week while we're here, shall we? Thursday of last week, the Packers upsetted the Cardinals. Unfortunately, it did cost them something, which will be the whole point of Week 8. Thanos really was a bitch. Panthers actually proved they can win without Christian McCaffrey as they beat the Falcons. Bills beat the Dolphins and was somewhat of a competitive matchup. The 49ers proved that you can beat a team who doesn't have a head coach in the Bears. I say that because their head coach was out, but it was still Chicago. Steelers beat the Browns, making the Browns question life. There was news coming out of the Browns camp today we got to discuss later. The Eagles made sure the Lions had a terrible Halloween as they blew them the fuck out of the zoo. Titans beat the Colts in overtime, but guess what? It cost them something in the end. Again, Thanos strikes. Jets shocked the world with not only winning with a backup quarterback, who used to be Dallas's backup quarterback of all things, but they beat the Bengals.
Wait, time out. Mike White used to be for the backup for Cowboys.
He was one of the backups for Dallas.
I've never heard that guy before.
Same here, and he played for us. Rams pretty much destroyed the Texans, and you know the Texans did get 22 points, but it was in garbage time. Pats shocked the world and beat the Chargers, making the Patriots a surprising dark horse playoff team. That is right, I'll explain later. Congratulations, Geno Smith. You finally won a game as a quarterback again. Too bad it was against the Jaguars, which means jack fucking shit. Dave can beat the Jaguars. I can beat the Jaguars. Vibrator can beat the Jaguars. Mr. Jones can beat the Jaguars. Vacant can beat the... Do you get where I'm going with this?
My black grandma can beat the Jaguars.
Correct. Broncos beat the Washington football team, but guess what? It cost the Broncos something. But this was sending somebody away.
Don't remind me of that.
Oh, we're going to remind you. Bucks lose to the Saints, but guess what? It cost the Saints something. Cowboys beat the Vikings, which guess what? It didn't cost Dallas. It cost Minnesota to lose that game because they lost the key player on defense. And then, of course, Monday night, somehow the Chiefs didn't blow that game as they beat the Giants. So I went...
You got to blame the referee for that thinking that motherfucking Phantom face.
Yeah, I will get to that when we discuss the games in greater detail.
Sorry.
It's all right. But for the season, I went 6-9. Well, not for the season. For the week, I went 6-9. And for the season, I'm 76-46. So I'm doing pretty good right now.
I went 8 and... Wait, yeah. I went 5-8. And 60 and 59.
Well, you were actually ahead at the early games. What the hell? Oh, the late games.
Oh yeah, I had, let's see, the Bills over the Patriots. The Saints over Bucks. Yeah, yeah. On 5 and 8, to a Packers who had a win. Fuck you.
Yeah. I know. Trust me. I think Mr. Jones was saying the same because he also had the Cardinals. I was the lone gunman there, as they say. But let's get to some greater details before we get to the college situation and the bigger news from the trade deadline and the injuries coming out of so far. So let's go a quick recap. Packers and Cardinals. Like we just said, the Packers won, but it did cost them something. As many of you know, because it broke today. It actually broke while I was at the hospital getting my legs looked at, because the left leg has the vein issues. But I'm alive. You know, at this point, I'd rather become a zombie and get down with the sickness and go to Raccoon City where the girls are pretty. But it did cost the Packers something. Brian Weber said, "We the ones." And that's, of course, Aaron Rodgers will be out this Sunday against the Chiefs as Aaron Rodgers has gotten the T-virus, so he cannot play this weekend, unfortunately. And that's because of this. I had to read it because it made no sense, because I thought he took something he took something. Apparently the treatment he took and I hate bringing up COVID because I don't like bringing it up on my streams, but I have to in this case. He took an alternate treatment, and he begged the NFL to let that treatment count as it being, proven as he was vaccinated. The NFL denied him that early in the season, so in the NFL's eyes, he is unvaccinated. So he cannot return to the field practice for, I believe, at least 10 days. So it will be interesting to see how he's got to be quarantined, correct. So the Packers will be starting Jordan Love in his first career game. What worries me with that, and we're going to discuss in greater detail when we make the pick for the Packers and Chiefs, because they probably didn't practice him at all Monday or Tuesday. So Jordan Love is only really got into practice with the first team starters today, tomorrow, and probably Friday. So he's going to be going into the game with a little bit, and I know somebody's going to say, oh, but Doug, the Jets quarterback and Cooper Rush. Here's the thing, though. Those guys had the whole week to be with the first team starters. Jordan Love doesn't have that luxury. But we'll discuss that in more greater detail. Next one, Bears and 49ers. Okay, I want to discuss this because this ties in with the Eagles and Lions, and only for this reason. I took a nap during, the Eagles game at the end of the first half because it's getting a blowout. I'll wake up, No, I took it at the end of the first quarter because I'm like, okay, Eagles are winning. They'll probably win. I'll wake back up at halftime and watch the rest of it. I wake up at halftime. Fox did something I was shocked. They actually switched the game in my area because the Eagles were already blowing the Lions out. So guess what game they switched it to? 49ers and Bears. So I got to watch the second half of that game. And it was actually a good game. I was actually surprised how well they were better coached without the head coach. Maybe they should leave it like that. I think the Niners kind of got lucky, though, because if you look at the score, the Niners played well enough to win. But you can make the argument that the Bears looked better in defeat. And that usually does happen on occasions, but, now the good thing for the Niners is, they're on that hunt for the 7th seed. Because, let's be honest, does anyone really think the Rams and Saints are going to choke the rest of the way right now? I have a hard time believing that. Maybe the Saints, because of what's going on there, and we'll get to them in a little bit. But Niners are in that hunt, because that 7th seed's a big old clusterfuck, which I'll explain when we get to the NFL standings in a little bit, because we're going to go over that before we get to the picks as well. So moving on, Steelers and Browns. Wow. Steelers won this game, so that was shocked.
I already said about the Browns this week, like Odell Beckham Jr.
That's what we're discussing here. Steelers won the game, which that puts them back in the hunt. Browns look like, are they going back to being the Browns of old? And you just said it with Odell Beckham Jr.'s dad. He blasted Baker Mayfield. Now, here's the thing. Today, Odell Beckham Jr. was told, do not bother showing up to practice. Now, here's the problem. They can't trade him because the trade deadline ended Tuesday. So I kind of think it's funny in the sense that his dad goes off on Tuesday after the trade deadline's over. So the Browns are kind of screwed. Either A, he stays on the roster and he stays angry, or B, you cut him, but then he's going to, I think there's something in his contract, he gets some of his money. So the Browns are kind of screwed here in this situation. Titans and Colts going to that game next. Tennessee, good news. You beat the Colts in overtime. Bad news. Derrick Henry is out for the rest of the season. Maybe some good news here, though. Adrian Peterson, you signed him. He's not as good as he used to be, but he's still a pretty decent running back, better than I think a lot of other running backs are out there. The problem is... Yeah, and he did well there. And he did well there. And he did well for the Vikings as well. Ironically enough, he played for the Lions I believe a few years ago, and he did well there as well. But here's the problem, though, Titans. Even if you start AP this week, because I don't know, I'm going to presume they are, you're going to be playing against the Rams, who not only killed the Texans, boosted up their defense before the trade deadline over, because who did they get from Denver? Von Miller is now a Ram. If that defense wasn't already scary enough, you now have Von Miller. You got good old Sammy Boy on defense. You know who I mean. So, I feel sorry for the Seahawks. I feel sorry for the 49ers. And I feel sorry for the Cardinals. Because that defense is going to be scarier than it already is.
They did all that just to get defeated by Tom Brady in the playoffs. Okay.
If the Rams lose to him if the Rams lose to the Bucs this year in the playoffs. Because what the Ravens are doing is they're going for the we need to win it now mentality, because Matthew Stafford's not old. A lot of their defensive guys are old. But
they traded all their picks, though.
Yeah, so they really have no real draft picks this year, so it's kind of a risk-reward thing. You're hoping the reward is you win the Super Bowl this year. Do what the Bucs did last year, win it in your stadium. But if they don't win the Super Bowl, because it's Super Bowl or bust after that trade, if they don't make the Super Bowl, the Rams are going to be in complete rebuild mode, because Von Miller's is not a spring chicken, Matthew Stafford's not a spring chicken. I'm sure there's a few other people on the defense and offense I'm not naming right now that are not spring chickens.
Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, so that team is win now mentality. It's win or bust. So we'll have to see how the Rams do. Now Von Miller will be starting this Sunday for the Rams. It should be interesting to see how that goes there. Bengals and Jets. Congratulations to the Jets. You won. You put off the upset, which Buffalo's thankful, because that puts Buffalo, I believe, back at the 1 seed for them. Of course, when Mr. Jones joins up, we'll let him, of course, do what he does best. Go over his stuff, because right now we're still in the recap land. Patriots, congratulations. I think they got the Rookie of the Year quarterback. They're in a playoff situation right now because they're doing well. And Chargers got embarrassed, in my opinion. Broncos, Washington. Okay, the only reason I'm discussing this is Von Miller's gone. And I'm going to say this as a Cowboy fan, because we're playing the Broncos this weekend. Oh, thank you, God. I don't have to worry about Von Miller trying to eat Dak Prescott.
Maybe play.
No, we're presuming Dak's going to play. If not, I'll be seeing how good Cooper Rush did, which we're going to get to in a minute. I'm okay with that. Saints and Buccaneers. Congratulations, New Orleans Saints. You beat the Buccaneers. Bad news. It cost you. Jameis Winston. I'm saying his name right?
Yeah, Jameis Winston, yeah.
Yeah. He is now out for the season because he tore his ACL and MCL in his leg. And he was having a good year. I have to admit, he was having a good year. But now... they're on the third string quarterback, because remember, the backup is out with a concussion still. So, so here's the question.
Who was it this week? The kicker was the question. Oh, the Steelers.
Yeah, Steelers.
They had no... I was like, wow.
They still won anyway. So this brings me to the question of the video. You can either, if you're watching this live, or after it's done, put it in the comment section. If you're here with me, you can say it if you want. Which rumored quarterback do you believe is the true rumor if the Saints decide to go sign him? Is it A, Cam Newton, I say that because that is the most favored rumor. Plus, he is used to playing in that division, being a former Panther. B. Phillip Rivers. Since his son's team is out of the playoffs that he coaches, he said he would, if the phone rang, he would pick it up. So we could see Phillip Rivers back. Which, ironically enough, if you remember, Drew Brees was traded to the Saints because Phillip Rivers was the starting quarterback for the Chargers. So it could come full circle that Phillip Rivers goes to the team that took Drew Brees. And then, of course, I know this one's kind of out there, the Drew Brees rumor, but if anyone thinks he's going to leave that cushy job on Saturdays calling Notre Dame, and then Sunday night pregame show, he ain't leaving that cushy job. The Saints would have to give him some money, and I mean a whole lot of money. So that ain't happening. Getting into the Cowboys Vikings game. First, I want to do this to Dave. Nanny, noo. Remember, children, when it's prime time, don't pick Kirk Cousins, because just like in the bedroom, he fails at life. And I'm going to say this. This loss is on mostly two people. The coaching and Kirk Cousins. Because Kirk Cousins, you should have won that game easily. The Dallas defense really didn't do anything great that day. Yes, they stopped things from happening. But no interceptions, no fumbles by the Dallas D. But they did enough because Kirk Cousins, the Vikings were terrible on third down. I think they only completed 1 third down the whole game. And then the coaching for the Vikings. You wasted so many of your timeouts for stupid shit. That's what did it there. But I'm also going to say this. Kirk Cousins, I'm not going to give you all the blame, because there's one wide receiver in particular I have to go after for the Vikings who caught it, and you know which one I mean, the one who caught it at the end of the game. When you're in that situation, there's about, when it's a minute left and you need a touchdown to win, you have no timeouts. What are you supposed to do? Catch it, get out of bounds, stay near the out of bounds area. This idiot for the Vikings caught it, and instead of immediately running to out of bounds, decided to run straight, got tackled in the field of play. And by the time the Vikings got to the ball and hiked it, there was 1 second left. The game was pretty much over unless a penalty. No penalty, Dallas wins. Not a Cooper Rush, who played a great game. The interception, I'm going to say that was a good play because the Vikings tipped it. It was actually intercepted, ironically enough, by a former Cowboys player in Xavier Woods. No, not that Xavier Woods from WWE. And then, of course, Cooper Rush fumbled the ball. But other than that, he had a great game. He over 300 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. So Cooper Rush played well. And I have to tip my hat to him because I think a lot of us Cowboy fans were worried about him in that game. I'm not going to lie on that. And then, of course, Chiefs-Giants. What the fuck, Revs? That was some bullshit you did to the Giants. I'm sorry. I'm going to say this is... The Chiefs may have won, but the Giants played better. And the Giants were missing 5 pieces on the offense. Missing a lot of running backs and wide receivers. Giants should have won, but because of bullshit, the Chiefs won. And that's as nice as I'm going to say about that.
Even the guy, even the announcer that was he hit the football. But the ref was like, no, that's a face mask. If I was the Giants, you still with that referee, yo. Like, come on now, you can't challenge that. They should challenge every time of a penalty. They should challenge play that. Like, yeah. Cut it. Dumbass. That's like the Packers at AJ Green. Catch the damn ball. Oh,
exactly.
The ball. I don't want to catch the ball.
Now going with some injuries real quick. Washington football team Sweat has a broken jaw, so he could miss a month.
Ouch.
Of course, the Von Miller Broncos, sure, we discussed that already.
We traded for some Baka guy.
But sadly, the one we need to talk about, and it's sad, but we have to talk about it because it's the elephant in the room, and it's the Raiders. Now, I do applaud him for cutting Riggs, who, if many of you know, he caused a fatal accident because he was driving under the influence. It killed somebody. My condolences to the family. Yeah, my condolences to the family that lost a family member. That's always heartbreaking. Now Riggs was driving 156 miles per hour seconds before the fatal crash, and he was drunk. Now, I'm going to say this. What makes me mad about this more than anything, you're a fucking football player. You're an athlete. The NFL has it set to where if you're going to be at a club or something and you should not, and you're going to be drinking, they have a private number you can call, which will give you an Uber, a taxi, or a limousine that will pick you up. They won't ask you or anything. They'll leave the window up and take you to the hotel room. You chose not to do that. So first, you're a fucking idiot. B, even if you didn't want to do that number, you could have still called a cab or something. So again, you're an idiot. And you have a bunch of money, so you could have called an Uber, a taxi, something. And what makes...
He had his girlfriend in the car, too.
Yeah, but what makes me more upset more than anything, not that, is the fact that this. In 2016, I believe it was. I might be wrong. If I am, I apologize about the year, because I know it was a few years ago. Your best friend, Henry Huggins III, died in a car wreck because of a drunk driver. You would have think for 1 second that, oh, if my best friend died because of a drunk driver, maybe I shouldn't be drinking and driving. But no, you didn't learn your lesson, and you're going to be paying the price because the Raiders cut you. So first off, I want to say congratulations to the Raiders. That was the right thing to do. But Riggs, your career is over because no one's going to want to touch you because you're going to be going to prison for this. If it was just a simple DUI car wreck, you'd probably be in trouble, probably face jail time, you'd probably be able to come back to a team. But because you killed somebody, your career is over because you're going to be in prison for a long time, and by the time you get out, you're not going to be athletically able to play anymore. So, yeah, I hope it was worth it, man. I hope it was. You flushed all that money away just because you didn't want to call a taxi, or better yet, you know, and I've said this before, my family... You know, I have a lot of friends, and my stepdad was in the force. When I turned 21, they all told me the same thing. If you're going to drink at a bar, have a taxi, a designated driver, or call one of us who's, you know, and we'll take you home, even if it's in the cruiser. Or better yet, if you're going to drink and you can't get somebody to take you home, drink the fuck at home. Yep. There's your NBC, the more you know. La, la, la. Thing, or I know that someone's like, well, why would you do that to be funny? No, that's pretty. I remember that's the NBC, you know, thing they would do with the rainbow. The more you know, la 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 thing. So with that elephant out of the way, let's talk about the NCAA football playoff thing. Oh my God! Now it's only the first one. By the way, there are 2 games that are happening right now. One went final. Central Michigan beat West Michigan 42-30, and Northern Illinois is losing to Kent State 40-52 with 7:17 left in the game. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the playoff, because the NCAA playoff committee gave their first official rankings. Now, this is just the first week. I know we shouldn't be going crazy and some shit, but I'm sorry. I think everyone can agree. How the fuck does Alabama, and for that matter, Oregon, make it in there? Because I told everyone I'm giving out my list tonight, and I'm going to be doing that in a few minutes. But Georgia, I can't argue. They are the best team. Michigan State, you can't argue because they beat Michigan and they're undefeated.
Fuck you. Fuck you, Michigan State.
But you can't argue those two. But I'm sorry, Alabama has a loss. Oregon has a fucking loss. And you mean to tell me, oh, Alabama, because I'm just going to say it. I had to agree with RG what he said this morning. The committee just wants to make sure there's 2 SEC teams in there. That's all they want. Yeah. So I'm going to say this: if Cincinnati wants to get in, you're going to have to hope Alabama loses. And then of course, just to give you the top 10 rankings, Georgia was 1, Alabama 2, Michigan State 3, Oregon was 4th. Ohio State 5th, Cincinnati 6th. By the way, Cincinnati's undefeated. Michigan is still alive, though, at 7-1. They can still get in. Oklahoma's 9-0. Wake Forest is at number 9 at 8-0. Oklahoma's 8. And 10 is Notre Dame.
I don't get the... Okay, if you're like 5-0, how far are you in last place?
Here's the thing. The committee they don't really care about wins and losses as much as your strength of schedule. That's why Alabama is in, because even though Cincinnati has the better record, they're going, oh, Cincinnati only good wins over Notre Dame because the rest of the people you played are from conferences that suck. That's why the thing has always been since they went to the playoff. If you don't play in a Power 5 conference, you're screwed. Even Notre Dame, they have to pretty much go undefeated to hope they'll lose is to a team who's also in the rankings. Because if not, they're screwed. Notre Dame can still get in, but it's going to be hard as far as for the rest of the list. Number 11 is Oklahoma State. 12 is Baylor. Auburn is 13. Texas A&M, who beat Alabama, is ranked number 14. But remember, at the time, Texas A&M was not ranked. BYU is 15th. Mississippi 16th. Mississippi State is 17. Kentucky's 18. NC State is 19. Minnesota's 20. Wisconsin's 21. Iowa is 22. Fresno State is 23. San Diego State is 24. And Pittsburgh is 25.
Wow.
And even the Cincinnati Bearcats commissioner with the Bearcats conference commissioner, Mike A, said this, quote, "These rankings, the more you look at them, they're indefensible," he said to ESPN. "It's clearly a Power 5 invitational. We'll see what happens the rest of the year. Let's hope that something changes in the way this thing is being viewed." Who is the committee chairman? Did he? The Cincinnati coach said, "Did the committee chairman even play football in his life?" Now here's the thing though, for Ohio State, they can kind of get in, but they need to do some things. Oklahoma is kind of pissed off because, they're 9-0 and you think they would be in the top. And what's funny thing is the ACC's playoff can only make it if Wake Forest wins out. Because they're undefeated. They're the only undefeated team left in the ACC. But NC State and Pitt, they can't really move up at all. I'm still here, sorry, I'm just reading. But with that being said, here are my top 4. Well, I'm going to do 6 because of the fact that it's usually the top 6 they show, the 4 in the playoffs and then 2 on the outside. So, number 1, Georgia Bulldogs. They're undefeated and they have the best offensive defense in the entire NCAA. I can't argue that. Number 2, though, I don't have Alabama because I'm not a bitch. Number 2, I am going to give it to Michigan State. They did beat Michigan, who was undefeated. Like I said last week, whoever won that game would have probably been in the top 4 for me personally. Number 3, Cincinnati. You did beat my Fighting Irish. I have to give you props on that because that was an away game for you and you won it. Congratulations. You should be in there. But you're getting screwed by the committee. Number 4, if you know me, I base everything because you have to be undefeated to be in my top 4. I have Oklahoma because, I'm sorry, Wake Forest to me, while they're undefeated, it's not as impressive. Sorry. So Oklahoma would be number 4. As far as for my 5th and 6th, and number 5, I have Wake Forest. So I'm giving Wake Forest a little bit of a chance, a little bit of a better chance. And then as for number 6, I have a tough one here because to me there's like 3 teams I could put at 6. I could put Alabama, but that ain't gonna fucking happen. Fuck Alabama. It pretty much came down to Ohio State and Michigan. And I'm going to put Michigan at number 6. Simply because of the fact of, if I put Ohio State at 6, I'm discrediting Oregon. So after number 6, 7 I have Oregon. 8 I have Ohio State. So Mr. Jones, I'm still giving you hope. Number 9, I'm actually going to surprise people. I'm actually going to put Oklahoma State there. Above Notre Dame. And then at 10 I have my Irish as well because, unfortunately, even if we win the rest of the way, that one loss is going to hurt us because it's from Cincinnati. I'm sorry. So there's my top 10, though, and the ones in the playoffs, respectively. Now, let's get to the NFL playoff standings. Because we know it's only week 9, but we need to talk about it because it's the elephant in the room. So, before I do that, though, let me see where Mr. Jones is at. We're going to be doing AFC. Okay. That's the one that ESPN... Just let Mr. Jones know we're almost at the picks. Sorry about that, guys. I want to make sure in case if he can get in here, he can say his picks. So, now, like I was saying, let's get to the playoff standings and situations, what's going on there. By the way, I'm taking a drink of cool, clear water real quick.
Drink water?
Yeah, I'm drinking water. I'm saving the Mountain Dew gingerbread for the... when I have to stream the game, you know, against the Broncos. Alright. Your playoff standings are as follows. Remember, the top 7 make the playoffs. And of course, the number 1 seed is the only team with a bye. I think
Yeah.
I believe it is Buffalo, as if the ESPN app would fucking work on my phone. Remember, children, Doug has a piece of shit phone. I don't...
Get it?
It's coming up slowly but surely. The cover girl! Oh! Oh, Dan, well, we're going over the playoff real quick, so when he comes back, we'll continue. But, in the AFC... Okay, I didn't want the division, I want conference, what the fuck? I know, technical difficulties on my end. Come on, get to the playoff. Playoff. I said playoff standings, you... Okay, let's use the older... Let's not use the older phone, because it wants to be retarded. Let's use the newer phone, which is also a piece of shit. By the way, welcome back, Dave. Welcome back. Your dreams may come true this week.
All I gotta do is dream.
Is believe. I think that was either Venkat or your vibrate or yawning. Put your answer in the comment section below which one you think it was.
I thought it was vibrator.
And I don't give a fuck about the damn Ncaa, UFC fight this weekend. Fuck that shit. Alright. Alright, playoff standings. First, we're going to be in the AFC.
Can you please almost Christmas time already?
I cannot. A lot of things have changed due to situations from this past weekend. The number 1 seed in the AFC is the Tennessee Titans.
Wait, what?
Because they're 6-2, remember? It's 6-2.
Buffalo Bills 6-1.
No, Buffalo Bills 5-2.
That bye week.
Yeah. Then we have a 3-way tie for second place between the Raiders, Baltimore, and Buffalo at 5-2. However, because of that, the Raiders are the number 2 seed as they have win the tiebreakers over Buffalo and Baltimore based on best win percentage in conference games. The 3rd seed is the Baltimore Ravens as they have the tiebreaker over Buffalo based on strength of victory. And then Buffalo is the 4th seed at 5-2. Now as far as for your 3 wildcard teams. Cincinnati is the number 5 spot at 5-3. And then we have technically two teams with the same record at 4-3, but and that is Pittsburgh at 4-3, and they win the tiebreaker over LA Chargers based on strength of victory. And then of course the 7th seed is the Chargers. Teams on the outside looking in at the moment. The Patriots, Chiefs, Cleveland, and Denver are all at 4-4, but...
Wow, you just say that again. Looking in. Say that again.
Patriots, Kansas City, Cleveland, and Denver are all 4-4, but the Patriots hold all the tiebreakers. They win the tiebreaker over Cleveland. Who would have thought what? Kansas City?
Yeah.
No, I don't think anyone did this year, to be honest.
That's why I had you replay. I was like, what? Did you say that again out loud? Wow. Crazy.
Patriots win the tiebreakers over Cleveland and Kansas City based on best win percentage in conference games. Divisional tiebreakers initially used to eliminate Denver. Kansas City wins tiebreaker over Denver based on best win percentage in common games.
Who died? Who's dead? Who's dead?
No one. The only teams mathematically eliminated at this point in the AFC, because we're going to continue. No, Jets are not. They can still steal on if they win out. Colts are in the 12th spot at 3-5. They need some help. Jets are 2-5. They need some help. The Jags are on life support at 1-6. If they lose another game, they're probably done. And Houston and Miami, they're 1-7. So I'm going to pull the plug on them. Na 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 na. They're dead. So pretty much call the Undertaker. We're going to put him in a bury alive match in Crown Jewel. As for the NFC, Green Bay is the number 1 seed as they hold the tiebreaker over Arizona because they just beat Arizona. Vibrator left. Vibrator, you have a good night, my friend. Hopefully I didn't upset him or anything. He might have just didn't want to hear football. Cardinals are the 2 seed at 7-1. Dallas is the 3rd seed at 6-1 because Tampa Bay lost, and Tampa Bay is the 4th seed at 6-2. As far as for your wild card teams, the Rams are the 5th seed at 7-1. Saints are the 6th seed at 5-2, and then Carolina is by itself at the moment at 4-4. Teams still alive in the hunt for the 7th seed, and maybe the 6th seed depending how New Orleans does. San Francisco and Minnesota are tied at 3-4. And Atlanta is also tied at 3-4 with them, but Minnesota holds the tiebreakers for the moment. Philadelphia, Seattle, and Chicago are on a tie as well at 3-5. And then you have Washington and the Giants near the bottom. But they're still alive as well. They just need some help to get in. And then, of course, the only team eliminated from the NFC. So call the Undertaker. It is the Detroit Lions at 0-8. They are done. So there is your playoff standings and all of that. So let's get to the first game of this week. By the way, just in case anybody wants to know, if you have fantasy teams, the Lions, the Buccaneers, the Seahawks, and Washington have a bye this week. So if you have them on your fantasy teams, please remember to remove them as they are off this week. So keep that in mind. Messaging Vibrator real quick because I just saw my things. But the first game is the New York Jets at the Indianapolis Colts. Jets coming off a hard loss over the Titans in overtime. Jets shocking the world, beating the Bengals. Dave, I'm going to let you go first. Who do you have?
Let's see. Do I pick consider? Do I pick? You know what? I'm doing an upset here. The Jets over the Colts.
Oh, well, that did help you last week. Here's my thing. I'm looking at this. Jets kind of shocked the world. Colts should have won that game against the Titans, but Carson Wentz made some mistakes. You had the Bengals. Okay. Here's my thing. And Sam Darnold was, and he's not Sam Darnold, the guy who they drafted from BYU. Sorry. Zach Wilson, thank you. But here's the thing. If it wasn't for Carson Wentz's 2 mental mistakes, Colts would have probably won that game. And here's the thing. Why I give credit to the Jets for beating the Bengals, I don't know if it's because they were lucky or they actually better with the quarterback they have now. So this is a real test for them. Now, of course, I should point this out for you people who care about the points and all that. The Indianapolis Colts are actually favored by 10.5 points to win this game. So, going with all that, I trust the Colts a little bit more because they have that veteran experience more in the sense of coaching and quarterback. So, give me the Colts at home. Of course, when Mr. Jones comes on, we'll have him give his picks. Game number 2 on the schedule. It is the Atlanta Falcons taking on the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are 6 points favorites right now. And, you know, it's normally, because this is a division game, I think because how bad Atlanta was, because they blew that game against Carolina. Well, let's be honest, they blew that. What worries me though is the Saints are having to rely on their third string quarterbacks. That could be a little bit of an issue there, my friends. But their defense has been good the last few weeks. They have a good running game. So even though the Saints are going to have to depend on a third string quarterback, I'm going to say the Saints win this game at home. Give me the Saints.
I got the Saints too.
Alright, you got the Saints. Fair enough. Moving on to the next game, and well, this is my Cowboys against the Broncos. Dallas is favored at home by 10 points. Denver just traded away Von Miller, so their defense is going to be a little bit different now. So you're not going to have that threat, because Von Miller isn't no spring chicken, but he was always a threat. You were going to have to do a lot of stuff to make sure he didn't get to you, but you don't have to worry about that now. Dak may not play, It depends how they want to do. If they rest him again, it's maybe because they want him for the end of the season in the playoffs instead of bringing him back early and he gets injured worse and he's out for the season. Because we already seen a few quarterbacks outdone for the year. So there's that. But Cooper Rush played well. I'm hoping it's not a fluke if Cooper Rush plays again this week. I hope he plays well. And I hope our defense plays a little bit better. But, I'm going to take the Cowboys anyway. Give me the Cowboys at home. You really going to take Denver?
No, I got Cowboys over Broncos.
I was going to say, I'm like, did you not learn your lesson with Kirk fucking Cousins? Hey, I like Teddy Bridgewater, but man... Fantasy football and picks don't count.
Well, he's doing something right. He gave me points, so. Well, I got Cowboys over Broncos.
Alright. Up next, it is the Patriots taking on the Panthers. Let me look at the score real quick. New England's favored by 3.5 points. Both of these teams are 4-4. You could make the argument both these teams need the win here. I don't know if McCaffrey's going to be back or not yet. I do not know.
Well, they took him out IR today, so. They took him out IR, so is that good? I think so.
That is good. It is good. But the Patriots have been playing a very good football the last few weeks, if we're being honest, ever since that, the game against Brady. And here's the thing, the Patriots have a better defense because, if this was week 1, 2, or 3, I would say the Panthers have a better defense. But, as we've seen, the Panthers have choked the last few weeks, excluding this past week. So with that being said, I'm taking the Patriots on the road.
I got Panthers over the Patriots.
Oh, so we disagree. Interesting. Moving on to the next 1 o'clock game. Hey, Kirk Cousins, you stupid son of a bitch. Welcome back to hell. The Vikings are on the road as they take on the best team in purple, the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are favored by 6 points. I think it should be higher, personally. I'm taking the Ravens here, guys. Ravens coming off a bye. Vikings did not look good in that Sunday night game against Dallas. Kirk Cousins, we couldn't do anything in the fourth. The running game was stopped by the Dallas defense. The Vikings running attack was not where if you want to beat Minnesota, you have to have Kirk Cousins beat you. Because that will decide if he's good or not. Baltimore's defense, yes, I know the Ravens have been a second half team this year, but they got way of a hell of a fucking more talent. Give me Baltimore at home. AKA, he learned his lesson from last week. Moving on, we're heading to WKRP Cincinnati as the Browns take on the Bengals. Browns, they have a little bit of an issue going on in their locker room and everything. Both teams look a little bit weird. But Browns have more of an issue going on with Baker Mayfield playing hurt. Odell Beckham Jr. is acting like a bitch again. And while the Bengals did just lose to the Jets, you could say that may have been Jets got lucky, right place, right time. I don't see the Bengals blowing this game. Cincinnati is favored by 2.5 points, but I just think they got a better defense. And the offensive, how do I say this? The offensive group is not in cluster mode right now, not in clusterfuck mode, because right now it looks Cleveland Browns offense is about to need nationwide. Oh, whichever insurance commercial he does. But give me State Farm. Okay, give me. It's one of them. Progressive, whichever. But give me Cincinnati at home, where we can sing the WKRP and Cincinnati theme song all night long.
Oh, nah. Oh, so I was going to be back on this one. I was debating back and forth on this. Like, what should I do? Baker Mayfield or Joe Burrow? So I was like, you know what? The Bengals look good, so I'm gonna go pick the Bengals over the Browns by 10 points.
Fair enough. Alright, moving on to the next game in our wonderful happiness of life. By the way, this is my lock of the week. It is the Buffalo Bills on the road against the Jaguars. Buffalo is favored by 2 touchdowns. Give me Buffalo. There's no way I can be nice about this. Buffalo, this should be a cakewalk. If you lose to Jacksonville, you deserve to be penalized by being hit with the dildos your fans throw on the field. But give me Buffalo on the road.
Shit. So I'm gonna be a smart dumbass and pick the Jaguars. So I did not. But I got the Bills over the Jaguars. So the Jaguars suck ass.
They are not. The Jags are not or elite. Unless it's in London.
The Jags make the Vikings look like contenders.
Yeah, I gotta agree with that. Now, here's a game I was dreading, because while the Colts and Jets I originally would have been is kind of a clusterfuck. Oh, but the Sunday game's a train wreck. It is the Houston Texans against the Miami Dolphins. Both teams are 1-7. The loser of this game can kiss the playoff hopes goodbye. The winner can say they'll laugh for another week. Miami is favored by 6.5 points. Now, here's the interesting thing: the Dolphins are trying to trade to get to get the quarterback for Houston. That's not playing. But guess what? That's not happening. That trade fell through. So I had a hard time picking this. This is really like who the fuck sucks less. And I'm going to be crazy. I know I am, but I am taking Miami here just because I have to put faith into the Miami Dolphins quarterback. That's the only reason I am picking Miami, because there is nothing I like about this game. If you have to watch this game, I apologize on behalf of humanity.
Let's see. I got the Bills over. I was gonna pick the Texans first because the Badger guy, the long guy. So I'm like, you know how much offense and defense. Who the hell you got for offense besides? I don't even fucking know.
Nobody. The Texans traded everybody.
They just got like Ncaa, and
They got at least 2 people on offense. There's your reasoning.
yeah. So I got over the Texans.
Fair enough. All right, the next game, it is the Raiders traveling to the Giants. Of course, it's a cross-country game. Raiders traveling from Vegas to the Giants. It's a 1 o'clock game. So if you believe in that statistic, you're going to pick the Giants. By the way, I should point out the Dolphins are favored by 6.5 points, if I got to mention that. Yeah. Now, the Giants are favored to lose this game by 3 points. And the Giants, like I said, they should have won that game money because they played better than the Chiefs. Raiders, since firing Gruden, the Raiders have played better. But I got to ask this question. Will what happened yesterday with the wide receiver you cut and everything play a factor? Because you know that's going to be wearing on their head. You know that's what the media's been asking them all this week. So we're going to see if that's a distraction. I think between that and personally from the Raiders having to travel to Vegas to New York, it's that 1 o'clock game. I have the Giants winning in an upset here. I have the Giants at home winning. I don't know the time zone difference between between that, so.
But yeah, they're not the Giants over. Dan Jones, and I hope they don't with the fucking referee from last week. Oh, been but yeah. Yeah,
Fair enough.
don't punt the ball this time, okay? Don't punt the ball. Don't go any dying football players. Don't go by the ball. Just let the ball go so you don't get fouled for holding face penalty.
Yep.
Anyway, let's go.
Moving on to the only game that's at 4:05 this weekend. It is the Philadelphia Eagles at home against the Chargers. Now, of course, the Chargers will go doing the cross-country thing as well, but it's a little bit of a later game. Chargers are only favored, though, by 1.5 points. So go figure on that. Eagles did get the win last week, but it was against the goddamn Lions. That's not really an accomplishment.
Anyone could beat the Rams.
No, Lions. Anyone could beat the Lions. I'm going to take the Chargers, so guys, I think they bounce back. I know Eagle fans are going to be riding high, but you beat fucking Detroit. That's not an accomplishment. Beat a real team, and then I'll give you praise. Give me the Chargers.
I wanted to make a punt, but the Eagles, but I couldn't think of anyone. I couldn't think of any punt. And I was like, Jalen Hurts gonna. So the Chargers gonna hurt the Eagle. You get it? That's so stupid.
I give you a cookie for that. Next at 4:25, these next two games at 4:25, and oh boy, did this game changed a whole fucking lot because of this morning. The 7-1 Packers on the road against the 4-4 Chiefs. Now here's the thing: before Aaron Rodgers' announcement where he won't be playing this week because he got down with the sickness, the Packers were favored to win this game, and ESPN even said that the Packers were favorable to win. However, after that, Vegas has the Chiefs winning by 7.5 points, and ESPN is now saying that the Chiefs are favored by 50-some%. As a matter of fact, let me bring that up real quick. The Chiefs are favored to win this by 58.9%. Packers at 40.7%, then of course 0.3 for a tie. Now, the Chiefs have a terrible defense, but their defense has been given a gift from God, an early Christmas gift, because Rodgers is out. You're playing Jordan Love, who, this is his first career start as a starter. Not a lot of game time, like I said, with the first string is probably for practice, so I don't know how he's going to play. He could play like the Jets quarterback in Cooper Rush did this past week and won, or he could be what most rookies people do in their first game of their first ever game, lose and play terrible. And here's the thing: Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes, and you know, if it becomes a shootout, Mahomes is going to be favored. So, if I'm the Packers, you really going to have Jordan. They are playing in Kansas City. I think for the Packers to win this game, Jordan Love is going to have to pretty much do what the two starters did last week for the Jets and the Cowboys. Show up big and have your coming out party saying that you are a quarterback to be at least show up for a game. But I think because of Patrick Mahomes, and now the Chiefs get to deal with a guy who, yes, the Chiefs may not know, but at the same token, we have no idea how good Jordan Love is. I got to go with the Chiefs here. I just think if it was Aaron Rodgers playing, I'd be picking Green Bay because I originally had Packers over Chiefs. But when that announcement broke, I switched my pick. So I got the Chiefs over the Packers.
Well, I did the opposite because I was like, they technically got all guys from offense, got Devontae Adams and Azuzu, or fuck that guy's name is, and they got the running back who can actually run. So I'm sticking with the Packers or Chiefs.
Fair enough. All right, up next, it is the Cardinals on the road against San Francisco.
But Kyle Murray is playing, so.
Cardinals are favored by 1 point. Who's not playing this Sunday for the Cardinals?
Huh?
I thought you said somebody wasn't playing for the Cardinals.
Kyle Murray. He's day by day.
He'll probably play. This is an important. This is an important game. Division. You don't have J.J. Watt on the defense. He's going to need to play because if they don't, the Cardinals are in trouble here because the Niners should have a lot of their key people coming back. It is in San Francisco, but I'm going to tell you, I have the Cardinals winning this simply for this reason. Jimmy Garoppolo needs to learn how to let go of the goddamn ball. And I don't know if the rookie quarterback they have, if he's cleared yet. So I don't know what's going on with the Niners quarterback situation.
But you got to admit, Jimmy G looked good last week. He actually came the ball.
But it was against Chicago, who didn't have a head coach.
But still, I was proud of him. He actually did have this.
Hey, you can, I tip my hat to him. He played well, but you're playing against a team who actually has something called a coach this week. But I know who you're picking, so explain to people why they should pick Saints and the 49ers.
Okay, well, for the 49ers, because we're getting back to his kettle. We're getting back to getting that goddamn kicker, because our kicker sucked ass. Joey Sly. Who the fuck are you? But I gotta go with my 49ers, so we got the running game. And we get our people back, so it's gonna healthy, and we're gonna knock some fucking sense into Kyle Murray. So we're gonna be kind of, but yeah, I'm picking 49ers just because the offense and defense, you know.
Fair enough. Now, of course, the next game, it is the Sunday night game. It is the Tennessee. Fuck bullshit, it's not. You're only saying that because you hate the Rams.
No. I'm thinking of fucking the Monday Night Football.
Yeah, Monday night game. Oh god, the Monday night game. Sunday night game. It is the 6-2 Titans taking on the 7-1 Rams. Rams are favored by 7.5 points. I'm going to be honest here. Even before Derrick Henry got hurt, and I looked at this, I was picking the Rams. And then when Derrick Henry got hurt, Adrian Peterson's taking his place. Titan fans are probably going, oh fuck, now we got to depend on Ryan Tannehill to win us the rest of the way in AP. Now here's the good thing for you Titans. You play in a division that sucks because the Jaguars are dead, Houston's dead, the Indianapolis Colts are the only team who can really stop you, and I don't know if they can. So even if you lose this game, it's not going to hurt much. Yeah, you may not get... You're probably not going to be able to hold on to the number one seed for that long, but you'll probably still win your division. I don't see you blowing that. But the Rams, oh god. Matthew Stafford's been playing great this year, showing that he was the reason the Lions could actually win fucking games when he was there. You have that strong defense that just now got stronger because Von Miller's there, and Von Miller's going to be playing for the Rams this Sunday. So here's his playing for the new team party celebration. I have zero faith in the Titans. If this was any other team, I would probably consider it. But we don't know how... They're playing in LA. They're in Los Angeles. I don't know how good AP is going to be because this is going to be his first game back in a while. Ryan Tannehill is going to have to carry the team for the rest of the way at least, depending how good or bad AP does. Ryan Tannehill is kind of that thing where can you trust him or not? We don't know. By the way, my Dallas Mavericks beat the Spurs 109-108. But they're not healthy. They're both coming off being hurt, so...
You don't got A.J. Brown? Or A.J. Brown or something like that?
I think he's still hurt. I think both of them are hurt or just came back last week.
Yeah. I don't know any members of the fucking office I go too.
So give me the Rams here at home. I just trust them a hell of a lot better.
I had to cut you to the Rams, but to the Rams because I don't want to lose. I want to win.
You don't want to... What it is remember, he's a Niners fan. He wants the Rams to lose, but he's like, wait a minute. King Henry's done for the year. Fuck, I have to pick the Rams.
Yeah, no. That's the only reason why. But I'm spreading. I'm picking the Rams, but I'm trying the Rams lose, like,
somehow. And then, of course, the Monday night game, which I don't know if I'm actually going to want to watch. It is the 3-5 Bears I might actually mention Monday Night Raw for the first time live in months. It's the Chicago Bears 3-5 taking on the Steelers. how can I say this? Steelers are favored by 6.5 points, and I think it's because of how bad defensively the Bears are this year. They are a terrible defensive team, and the offense ain't that any better.
What about picking schedules for the football games? Like, come on, pick some interesting ones.
I think this was done because last year, or a few years ago, I don't know, but I'm taking Pittsburgh, guys. I just don't have any faith in Chicago. I'm sorry, Vibrator. I know that's your team. You haven't watched them this season because of how bad they played against Cleveland, but I can't justify if you pick Chicago. I can't find a good reason to. If they would have beat San Francisco, I could at least said, okay, here's a reason why, but I can't even say that because they lost to the 49ers.
Okay, well, for me, alright. First of all, Steelers, Ben, you gotta go, because I don't know. But
He's too old for this shit.
Yeah, you too old to get hit and like, oh, my hand or something like that. You're not Ryan Matthews got stepped on by the cliff. So glad you
I saw that right. Ooh, that was nasty.
Oh, you be crying. But you know what? I got an upset here. I'm picking the Bears over the Steelers.
You go to hell. Good lord. Well, before we get to looking ahead for next week, here's the funny thing, and I got to thank Vacant for this because he asked me this earlier. What are the chances the Lions go 0-17? Well, I'm pulling up their schedule, so we're going to discuss them real quick and what are the odds? What are the odds they can actually win one of the next games that are left? So next week in Week 10, the Lions are on the road against the Steelers. Pittsburgh's favored by 9 points. I can't see Detroit winning that. So next game, they play the Browns. I could see them winning that one, so I'll say maybe. I'll say.
I don't think they're beating the Browns.
After that, they play the Chicago Bears. I don't see them beating the Bears.
Maybe you don't see them. Maybe.
Then they play the Vikings. I don't see them beating the Vikings.
So you mean the Vikings are good?
They're better than Detroit, which is not saying much. And then the Lions play the Broncos. Broncos will win that game probably. Then they play the Cardinals. Yeah, Lions ain't winning that fucking game. Then they play the Falcons. They could win that one. Then they play Seattle after that, which is depending how Seattle is at that point. And how good Russell Wilson's playing by then, because I believe Russell Wilson comes back next week, so we'll see. That one's kind of a give me. That one's questionable.
And we play them next week too.
And it's in Seattle. And then lastly, the Lions end the season against the Packers.
Oh damn.
So I'm going to be honest. So looking ahead, I can only really see Detroit beating maybe Cleveland and maybe Atlanta. No, they'd be 2 and because we have 17. They'll be 2-15.
But they're 18 weeks.
Yeah, but 17 games. Remember, because each team has a bye, so they'll be 2-15. Which that would give it. I think that would make them the worst team, depending how Miami and Jacksonville and the Houston Texans do. But that is the picks for this week, guys. So let's look on ahead. Mr. Jones will probably put his picks in the comment section or message to me later. Looking ahead, oh dear God, Thursday night, Baltimore Ravens at Miami Dolphins. The quote the movie Judge Dredd: murder, death, kill. Murder, death, kill. Buccaneers that come off their bye week and they play Washington. Holy fuck, that's going to be murder, death, kill. Falcons on the road against Dallas. Another murder, death, kill game. Saints and Titans? Okay, that looks like to be a good 1 o'clock game. Jaguars at the Colts. That could be interesting. Browns and Patriots look a little bit more interesting now because that's the playoff situation. Also in Week 10, your late games. Seahawks at the Packers. That's going to be interesting because who are the quarterbacks going to be? Oh, you mean you don't want to watch Week 10 Monday Night Football because you play the Rams?
Oh
Monday Night Football, yep. Well, you can watch Peyton and Eli. That would be good. Sunday night game next week is the Chiefs and Raiders. That's got big playoff implications as well. Yeah, I have a feeling that I can already hear you go. And then, of course, we have a few. It's going to be interesting seeing what happens, though, this week. So, if
next Thursday after next Thursday.
week 11, okay, week 11 Thursday night game, Patriots at Falcons.
Oh, God.
And just because we're getting close to Thanksgiving, your Thanksgiving games, Bears at Lions, Raiders at Cowboys, Bills at Saints. I'm going to be honest here. The only team who's got a good shot at winning at home is the Cowboys. Because it ain't the damn Lions, and it sure as hell ain't the Saints, depending what the quarterbacks, what happens with the quarterbacks. As far as working on week 11, week 11 is Giants and Buccaneers on Monday night. Oh dear God. So that means the only good Monday night game we get in the next few ones is in week 10 with the Rams and Niners. That's like the only legit good one, because the Bills, the fuck. Because week 11 is the Giants at Buccaneers. That's gonna suck. Week 12's Monday night game is Seahawks and Washington. That's gonna suck. I'm afraid I'm looking at Patriots at Bills. Okay, so that's a good Monday night one. So it's sad. Week 10 and week 13 would be good Monday night games. It's like after that, welcome to hell. Huh? I am checking real quick. I think didn't they already play one?
No.
I thought they did. Let's see. Week 13 is Cowboys at Saints. Week 14 is Steelers at Vikings. 15, Chiefs and Chargers. 16, Week 16, 49ers at Titans. That game's interesting now. And Week 17, there is no Thursday night game yet announced. We got two games on Saturday, though, in Week 16. Browns and Packers, Colts and Cardinals. That could be for nothing. Oh, at least play all players just to get them a few game snaps in for Week 16, 17. But hope everyone enjoyed the picks. I'm going to go get some... go to the restroom real quick, and then I will be... Yeah, gotta go visit the Lions. I will be going to do that, and then I will be getting back, and we'll be doing my game, as it is the Denver Broncos taking on my Dallas Cowboys. So see you guys in a few minutes.